Hey there you guys, welcome back. Today we're going to look at this little terrarium that I purchased a few years ago. I think it might have been 2 years ago. I got it at a little African Violet show and sale in Toronto, and when I got it, it had a small little teeny fern in it and a little Sinningia pusilla. I hope I'm saying that right. And the Sinningia was adorable. It's one of those little micro Sinningias, so it needs a humid environment. And the fern was in there just as a little decorative flair. So yeah, I was told that the fern would never get very big, and that I shouldn't have believed that, but it's a small container, so of course it's going to outgrow that tiny little container. So anyway, I wanted to open this up and see if this little Sinningia is still in there. I really want to keep the Sinningia. I don't really care so much about the fern. It can do what it does. I'll put it in another pot, but I want to replant this with the Sinningia bulbs if I can, or the corms, or whatever Sinningia, the rhizomes. I don't know what it will have. So let's get in a little bit closer. We'll pull this stuff out, see what's in this little glass jar. Okay, so I hope that everything is coming into focus there. I'm going to use this little, I haven't used these so much in all my life, little shovel maybe to loosen it up a little bit in here. I don't think it will come out if I just pull it. It'll loosen it. The fern is doing so well. I might have to make a little terrarium just for the fern. I really hope that the little Sinningia is alive in there. Come on, there you go. I'll rinse out the little vase, and we'll probably replant the Sinningia back into it. Oh, it smells so nice. It smells like a nice walk in the woods. So nice. So I don't know where it would be. So let's just kind of remove the soil as best we can and try to locate him or her. Wow, look at all the fern. It was growing on top of itself. And I think there's some sphagnum moss growing in there now too. Okay. I'll have to link the video of when I purchased the little Sinningia, this little terrarium, so that you can see what it looked like when I first got it. I really hope that there's some little bulbs in here. We'll come back and I will let you know. Oh, right here is the little guy growing. I see its little leaves. There's some little seedlings trying to grow up through here. They've got little regular leaves. Okay, so I'm just gonna clean up around, try to take away some of this fern. Ferns have such wiry roots, so it'll be a little difficult to, oh, there we go, pop. Okay, so I'm going to pot this up into the terrarium again, and we'll see what happens. And I'll also look around to see if I can find any more little babies in here, because they might have self-seeded. And I want to plant as many of these as I can. Here's one that broke off. I don't know that you're able to see that in my hand. You can see the little leaf that's still there. So we'll see. Oh yeah, there's more growing in here. Okay, so off camera, I'm just going to remove some more of these ferns, and we'll plant a couple of these back up. And the rest of this fern, I think I'm going to toss because I don't need it. There's going to be some baby ferns that are going to survive. And in a couple of years, we'll have to do this all over again. Okay, so we got everything we need here. We've got our cleaned out bowl, and left the name on it. I think it's a good thing to have. We've got our little pieces of plants that are going to go back in. We've got some soil. I'm just using my all-purpose potting soil. This is a ProMix BX. It's just an all-purpose, general purpose, with perlite and peat moss. I'm not going to put a layer of stones or anything on the bottom. It didn't have it in the original makeup, so I'm not going to add any because it didn't seem to need it when it was growing. I've got about 1.5 to 2 inches of soil down in the base there. And then I'm just going to make little holes in here. I'm going to put the little fern at the back. I guess it doesn't really matter where I put any of it because all of them have the little Sinningia in there. Just going to pull off all of these weird bits, leaving just some fern and the Sinningia. It's hard to get my hands in here. I need little people hands in there. Be a good job for a child if they've got a good attention span for this sort of thing. Their little hands would be perfect. Alright, so I'm just going to make sure that they have contact with the soil. I don't know whether you're able to see in there, but they're looking lovely. Any of the additional soil that is remaining on the edge of the pots, you can get rid of that by adding a little bit of water to the just making sure that the water falls down. I'll show you. So this isn't going to need much water. So as you can see, let me bring the camera up for a second. Okay, so you want to just rest your water container off to the side, just letting it run down the side of the pot. And you'll notice that it cleans it right up. Makes it nice and clear. Or you can put a little piece of paper towel on the edge of a knife or something and just go and clean the sides, but this makes short work of it. And you need to water in anyway. So you don't want to give too much water, so that's fine. It's a little bit of soupiness happening, but that's only because the peat moss was really dry. I'll come in and check on this in a couple of days, or maybe in a day, and any excess water I'll just tip out the side. I don't want it to be sopping wet, but I don't want it to be bone dry. It needs to just make a little ecosystem. And now to keep the humidity in, let's bring the camera back down. Okay, so to keep the humidity in, I've got some cling wrap, and this is what it had on it when I got it. I'm just going to take off a small piece of cling wrap, and I hate taking cling wrap off. It never comes off the way that you want it to. It's never as clean as you'd expect. Oh my. So we're just going to add it to the top, and we're going to keep it on like so. I'm going to take some scissors and cut off the excess because it looks rude, and my scissors aren't going to cut it. There we go. It's cutting it now. Everything wants to give me trouble today. Alright, so we'll make sure that that's on there nice and snug. You can make it so that it's so tight that you don't get any wrinkles in there. I don't really care. In a day or so, when everything absorbs, it's going to get a lot of humidity in there. I'm just going to use the remove some of the cling wrap to give a little bit of a hole to let some air out, some humidity out when the condensation builds up too much, and then I'll put it back down when it dries out. When the fern was huge, I had this completely off because it was making its own little environment inside, and yeah, I didn't need to have the cover on. But right now, I think it's best, and I'll check on this in a couple of days, like I said, and see how it's doing, and show me what you're growing. Are you making little terrariums like this? It's fun to make little self-contained gardens. They're not hard to do. They can take a little bit of maintenance in the beginning, but once you get it all figured out, they take absolutely no maintenance. You just put a little bit of water in from time to time. Some of them you don't even have to put water in after the initial go, because it's just a little self-contained ecosystem. The condensation acts as rain, it falls back down, waters the plant. The humidity is really high, so you can do a lot of good things like ferns. In a larger bowl, it's a lot easier to grow more fun things. But this little Sinningia is a really cute one to grow, and hard to grow if you don't have a terrarium. So it's a perfect, fun way to try growing them. Anyway, show me what you're growing. Post some photos to the Plants and Things What's Growing page. And until next time, you guys, happy growing.